your girl was finished by uni / finishing uni. I'm done with almost all of my exams. And my labs and stuff. I only have one more exam left, and then I will never have to do another exam ever again. So I'm quite excited about that. And it also means I finally have a little more time to play around on the channel. So welcome back to a very late reading wrap up. However, it will be nonetheless yuppie and hopefully relaxing. Now, the first book I'll talk about that I read last month was Yesteryear. Yesteryear by Caro, Burke. Now, I read this as a book club / buddy read with two of my bookish besties, Laurel Whispers ASMR and Enigmatic Feeling ASMR, who, if you haven't seen it, we've also done a collab because they recently came to visit me, so we've done some collab videos that are on all of our respective channels, so check that out. I feel like they're pretty good, so if you haven't seen that yet, make sure you watch. But I managed to get this cover. I'm not sure if this is the US or the UK cover, but I prefer this cover over the other one. I don't know, I really love the aesthetic of this book. Now, this is kind of the first literary fiction I've really read recently, so I was a little bit intimidated. However, I was very motivated to read this book, and it took me a while to actually start, but once I did, I was quite hooked. I read this quite quickly. To get this out of the way, I did give this book 4 stars. It's more so a 3.5, I think. Now, my biggest qualm with this book is that it was overhyped and oversold. And I feel like I have no idea where it came from, because any review I've been watching, no one actually loved it as much as the hype was about, but I think all the hype was a very clever publishing strategy / maybe the movie adaptation thing had something to do with that. However, so personally, okay, I feel like I can't spoil anything, right? But to me, this book was sold as an influencer who's living the tradwife life and promoting that online is forced to actually live the life she is promoting in the past. Listen, all it did was something else. It was not, if you're purely interested in reading this book based off this exact premise, I would suggest you don't. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about this book, okay? We definitely explore a few topics, especially of feminism and women in the tradwife community. However, I will say this book focused a whole lot more on religion and religious trauma than I personally would have expected. And for all the social criticism that was in this book, I feel like it wasn't fully explored, and I'm just gonna say the ending, I hated the exploration of why the Tradwife influence thing, which was so hyped and so oversold, is bad in quotations. My train of thought. But yeah, I feel like the criticism on the Tradwife influences came a little too short, and it was more an exploration of religious trauma, religious indoctrination into the role of a woman shaped by religion, and that very little to do with the whole Tradwife influencing thing. It was kind of silly at points. So yeah, not my favorite read, because I feel like, so reading wise, I quite enjoyed it. I flew through this book. I thought the storytelling itself was great. However, being marketed as a, exploration of a social critical topic, the social criticism for me wasn't done well. So that's why this book loses a lot of points for me. But the story itself was good. So that was Yesteryear. I feel like everyone in Dinniman read this or picked it up at least, so good for her. I will say I'm definitely very intrigued what she is going to write next. I will probably pick it up and see, but that was my first book that I read last month. My reading month didn't get much better after this, because I picked up Starside by Aster. Yeah, now, I don't know, I gave it 2.5 stars, and I don't know, this edition is so cute though. This is my favorite edition, with the naked hardback. Now, what's happening in this book? We have some trials. It's kind of like this world opens every few hundred years, and then you can go on these trials kind of vibe. And we have like magic coming from swords. This book is all over the place, like literally all over the place, all over the place. There is so much happening and nothing at all. We jump from literally one thing right into the next. We do not take time to explore anything other than plot. And if by any means you are fooled by the cover that there is a dragon in this book, there's a dragon in this book for about 30 seconds, and about every other side character gets maybe a minute of page time, and then immediately disappears. So, like, I feel like I saw so much good, like, reviews for this book, and then I absolutely hated it. Or like, maybe I didn't absolutely hate it, I read it. I read it with the book club as well, which tends to make my reads a little more favourable than if I read them on my own. But this book probably took me 2 or 3 weeks to even get through, and that is usually my biggest tell that I'm not loving a book. It's just, I don't know, it's nothing we haven't seen before. It is like lazy storytelling, to be honest. I feel like we do not explore any deeper feelings. There's about no character development. If you count out the weak girl just being able to something at the end. We've read that before, I don't know, I didn't fuck with the romance. People were like, oh, but it's like not based on sexual tension because he's like wearing a mask the whole time. Like, yeah, I feel like that's literally the only thing this book is going for it, that it is not instant lust. However, it slightly is, let's be real. So, but I but there were some very, very funny things that made it past editing in this book that are low-key ridiculous. Like I feel like the one example everyone uses is that they like go into water and she's like talking about him and then she's like, the water touches his knees, the water touches my waist. Like, you toddlers, I saw what? Like, I mean, no offense, right? But like, if her waist is at his knee height, then I mean, her head is at his hip, okay? What? I think there was also like a funny little sentence where it's like, I jump down in the water, I get wet. Well, so you know, Loki, not my favorite book. I have many words about this book, and I feel like unfortunately none of them are good. What positive thing can I say about this book? I don't know. I mean, so many people said that these tropes haven't been like explored before, and that it's so many tropes, but so well done. And I sincerely disagree. I don't know. I didn't think anything was well done in this book. I think we just jumped from anything and everything to the next thing. So we could jam-pack this book with as many tropes and plot lines and people as we possibly can. Yet we completely underdeveloped anything and everything. Like, I mean, I always say that people need hobbies and books, and if there's nothing else to a character than the current storyline they're in, and maybe a little bit of a traumatic past that plays into the story, you're underdeveloping your characters. You're underdeveloping your characters. They are not developed enough, okay? They need a personality, they need a hobby, they need a reason that I can like them, and nothing. So, that's my review for this book. Nothing. But yeah, 2.5 stars. What can I say? I also wished that I would have liked this more, but I didn't. So, yeah. Now we need to get one book out of the way before we head to the actual highlight of my month. And that is Run For Your Life by Lucinda Berry. Now I got the the audiobook arc for this from NetGalley, but it is published by Amazon Original Stories, and I give it 2 stars. I don't know why I had such a criticism of any and every book I touched, but this is a short story. It's not per se a novella, more so a shorter story. I mean, 3 words are boring, lazy, and sloppy, and slightly disturbing. So we follow this girl who basically just gets kidnapped, and they're like trying to escape and trying to figure out why she even got kidnapped in the first place. And I'm sorry, it's just so lazy. Like, don't read it. There's nothing else I can say. I mean, there was even like a short little sexual tension thing, and I was like, ma'am, this is a short story. We cannot be doing that. You have not enough explorational depth and character development to put a sexual like tension plot with the kidnapper into this book. Yeah, and the ending was like outlandish and crazy and idiotic, and yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't try to be a hater. I prefer to love my books, but like, I was listening to this in a car and I was just rolling my eyes about 95% of the time. So yeah, that didn't go too well per se, but moving along, because I have much to say about the gem that I found next, because I don't know why I'm getting my Kindle out or my e-book reader. It's not a Kindle, it's also out of battery. But I guess we can do some tapping. However, this is slightly misleading because I listened to the audiobooks. I am an audiobook girly, and especially if I'm commuting to uni a lot, which I've done a lot in the last few weeks, because I have a 1 hour and then another hour back commute to uni, so lots of audiobook time. Now, I heard a lot of hype, a lot of fanfare about this book in particular, and then a lot of people in my book club mentioned that they were interested in reading it and that they thought it was a really good book, and someone in the book club suggested the audiobook, and kisses to you. I love you forever. You kind of introduced me to the newest obsession in my life. And I guess you guys can kind of guess what title I might be talking about. I'll give you a minute to think about it. If you've seen my Goodreads or my fables, so what are your bets? But the book I'm very obsessed with is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman, and oh my god, I will say, if you've been on the fence if you should read it or not, read it. It's so good. It is so good. It's consumed my entire being. It is so good. I am so hooked. The shit's like crack. It is so good. And I do heavily suggest you listen to the audiobooks. If you're an audiobook lover, they are amazingly done. The narrator narrates almost every character except some special appearances in letterbox, and he does the most amazing job on voicing and giving a character to all these different characters, and it's just so good. There's also some like audio editing within the book. It's almost like a graphic novel, like a graphic audio novel, but like not fully with the whole soundtrack. I know they also produced one with a full cast with more extended background audio sounds, but I did actually quite enjoy the narration from Jeff and the a little bit plainer and like more calm audiobooks, because I need my brain power to focus. Okay, but that's a big recommendation of mine, to listen to the audiobooks. You guys know I'm a huge Everett fangirly. Unfortunately, they're not on Everett, so I think the only place you can really get them is on Audible. But they were worth it. Now we have Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I actually, and I feel like this was a big feat, because even these audiobooks are like long. I think the first one is like 18 hours and it goes up from there. The one I'm like currently on is like 28 hours. So I read the first book, Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I gave it 5 stars. Then I read / listened to Dungeon Crawl's Doomsday Scenario, which is book 2, and I gave it 5 stars. Then I listened to the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, which is book 3, and I gave it 5 stars. And then also, slightly into this month, I read The Gate of the Feral Gods, which is book 4, and I also gave it 5 stars. Can you catch a similarity here? They were fully and completely and thoroughly and completely throughout a pure 5-star rate. 6 stars. I love them. I think this is going to be one of those series that is just going to be ingrained in the very essence of my being. for forever. This is one of those books I think I personally gonna think about when I'm like 90 and in my rocking chair and I'm in a nursing home and I'm gonna be like senile and I'm gonna be talking about Princess Donut and everyone's gonna be like, what is she talking about? So, if you're wondering now what these books are about, if you've never heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl, they are, I think they call it lit RPG, so a lit literature roleplay game. I feel like it sounds a little weirder than it is, or like more different than it is. I would kind of put it in like a sci-fi action kind of category, but what is happening is the world is being invaded by aliens, and the world finds out it is only there because it has been seeded for the dungeon crawler games that are hosted on like a universe scale. So the bigger universe exists, there's so many aliens and creatures and even other humans out there. There's so many different worlds, and every like not every year but like every few years they host the dungeon crawler games, and every time a different species gets hosted, and basically what happens is they take all the resources from the current world and they flatten everything down, like anything and everything collapses in on itself, and the only people surviving are the ones that are currently outside. And guess what? Carl just ran after his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, because she jumped out the window. So they're outside. He unfortunately in boxer shorts and without shoes on. So this is our starting point. And then the people who survived are given the option to enter the dungeon crawl. And this is kind of a typical like video game setup, where you kind of have to level up and fight smaller bosses and then bigger bosses and even bigger bosses, and you can kind of team up with other players so you can, you know, collect gear and money and trade that and just anything and everything you would expect from a typical dungeon crawl game. Now, it just, you know, it's just that, what can I say? So yeah, the goal is to survive as many floors as possible and to not die. So Carl makes the decision to enter this dungeon, and he goes in with the cat, Princess Donut, who turns into a player and is a like sentient human-like cat and an official player of the game now. And from there on we go on a crazy intergalactic adventure within these dungeons. We're gonna meet so many different characters that you're gonna love. There's gonna be so many action points, and things to learn about, things to explore. I don't know, it is so good. I've not been this obsessed with a series probably since Akata, so let me tell you something. Yeah, it is very fast paced. It's somewhat gory, but there are a lot of monsters. There is so much wit and fun. Like, these characters are also very funny in itself. Also it's very humorous as well. There is a lot of like intergalactic politics that play into this. There's a little bit of social criticism that's coming through. These books are like very, very intellectually written. Like, there's so many layers books, even though I listen to them. I want them to live on my bookshelves, and I was told there is a special chapter that is at the end of the art, or at the end of the books, that is only in the physical books, so I need to get this to meet the characters that are in this. It is kind of like an additional thing, not something that's relevant to the story as far as I know, so it's pretty good. But these books, it's so good, and the like plotting and thinking that's gone into this book is just delicious. Now, I feel like there was a lot. What I heard a lot of people say is that they were scared because they don't know a whole lot about games and like gaming and dungeon crawls. And I will say it is super well explained. I myself have never played a dungeon crawl or an RPG game. I have seen my boyfriend play like a very simple version of it, but just about nothing else, and I didn't know anything. But you get very, very, very quickly into it. It is well explained, and like in the end, I think if you don't fully understand a little bit of the game mechanisms, it's not going to take away a lot of the story. So I would suggest anyone to just go for it. You probably gonna enjoy it more than you're gonna think, and you're gonna understand more than you think. So yeah, that was the highlight of my month, and it's probably gonna be the highlight of this month as well, because again I'm like still listening to the books. But yeah, another book I was reading throughout the month, and have not finished yet, is Daggermouth by H.M Wolfe. So that's technically my current read, even though it's been a while. I also read this with a book club, so this was July's pick, and Starside was June's pick. I'm just a little late on everything. But this is an dystopian, like assassin versus executioner romantasy, and I will tell you my thoughts in the next video. But I feel a little bit that this book was somewhat overhyped to me. I think I have like a little bit still to go, that's much, so we will reconvene when I have actually finished this book. But as you can tell that I haven't finished it in the middle of August. I'm not like super hooked on it, so yeah, we will see. However, our current read in the book club, if you still want to join, it is as always linked down below, is The Someday Garden by Ashley Boston, which I'm super excited to read. I haven't read it yet, so we'll be jumping on that. But yeah, I'm quite excited. I love myself Ashley Boston, so very, very, very excited to read it. And you can always join if you would like to. It is linked down below. I've also recently joined the like influencer creator circle for Everend and Fable, so the links that are down below, not to the book club because the book club is free and like not technically sponsored, but I do have affiliate links for Fable as well as Everend, so they're marked and linked down below, but just letting you know that these are affiliate links now. But I love both of these apps and teams and brands, so I do appreciate being able to officially support them and them being able to support me, I guess. But this is just for your information that has changed, that I'm now officially endorsing them, even though I was doing that for quite a long time. So I hope it is clear that I do love and support these brands, and this is my links down below. But yeah, the book club is also in Fable, but it's separate from them. But yeah, that is what I have read and what I will be reading